Well, on the phone today, our special guest is Greg Raber. He's Executive Director of the ARC of Harrison County. There's actually 4 ARC chapters in the state of West Virginia. The one here in Parkersburg, we're advocacy only. Then there's the ARC of the Three Rivers in Charleston. And then there's Harrison County, and then the new one in the Eastern Panhandle. And while we're advocacy only, yours is a little bit different, Greg. So you actually do same things we do, but you also do direct service. So can you give us just a synopsis on how that's different? Because like I said, we're out running people first and doing that, but some people call us and say, "Hey, my son needs such and such," and we don't do that. So what's your role in all of this?
Well, we try to provide, or we do provide, 24/7 care for all of our participants and assist them in everyday living, such as going to doctor's appointments, grocery stores, things like that. We also have a vocational department where we try to get persons with disabilities employment throughout the community and get them intermixed in the community. And just like you said, you guys are an advocacy group, and we try to promote self-advocacy as well.
We have the good fortune of working with Dede from your organization, and she does a great job with People First there. So one of the things I'm just going to jump in and say is that people with disabilities are like anyone else. They have the same hopes, dreams, and goals, and employment is part of that. So we're really glad that you're able to help people and fill that niche for them.
Well, thank you. And, you mentioned Dede. She is just outstanding at what she does in leading our People's First chapter. She's always everyone's biggest supporter, and she just does an amazing job. So kudos to her. And, yeah, you're exactly right, Liz. That's one of the biggest things you learn, I think, getting into this business is everyone with a disability wants the exact same things that you and I and Doug and everybody else have. They want to work, they want to contribute to society, they want to pay taxes, they want to do those things, and we need to do everything we can to support those hopes and dreams.
Exactly, and we appreciate that. So you've talked a little bit about what you do in general. Can you tell us what you're doing now or how you've had to change things because of the coronavirus?
Well, obviously, we're trying to be much more cautious in every aspect of everyday living. One of the things we're doing is we're having staff kind of go through a 3 or 4 item checklist when they come on shift. Are you fevered? Do you have a headache? Basically, are you showing any symptoms? Anyone that's been reported with a fever is sent home immediately. Don't even report to work, and they can't return back to work unless they're free of fever or any of the symptoms for at least a 24 to 48-hour period. And, we're trying to be more cautious. Of course, most places are shut down now, so there's not a lot of things for our participants to do and places to go, but we're trying to protect them as much as possible. Of course, cleaning, sanitizing daily, numerous times, and just trying to keep them interacted, but yet still protect them. We encourage them to walk in the neighborhood when it's nice out, but obviously, keep the 6-foot distance from any persons, and we're not letting folks really intermingle with other participants just to try to protect everybody at this point.
Very good. And if somebody that you serve or somebody with a disability in your community needs help and wanted to reach out to the ARC, how would they go about doing that?
They can contact us here at the office. The phone is 304-624-3641, and we'd be happy to help them in any way we can, and even if we can help them, we'll try to point them in the right direction to another agency or affiliate that could possibly help them.
Very good. And that's actually what we've been doing. We are fortunate enough to have a great United Way in our community that's been helping out a lot. So we've been referring people that we're not able to help to United Way or 211. Are there other resources available in your community, or are you using the United Way?
We are not currently using the United Way, but we have in the past, and you're right, they're an absolute terrific organization. I do know they are trying to do some things more interactively through the Internet, but other than them, we really aren't doing a whole lot right now.
Have there been any challenges where individuals who were expecting they want to get together, they want to come to those meetings, they want to come to the place? Are you getting some calls about, hey, when's this going to be over, or what types of feedback that you've heard maybe that Dede and other people have been getting? Is the phone still ringing?
Not as much as it was, but it is still ringing. Yeah, the first week, definitely we got a lot of phone calls. Like you said, when do you think we're going to be able to do this or do that? And unfortunately, there is no timeline for this. We don't know. The office is primarily shut down. Only myself and two other individuals have been coming into the office, and we're here at different times to try to, again, protect ourselves as well. But yeah, all of our folks want to get together and go to meetings and just, they miss the camaraderie of each other. And hopefully in, a couple weeks, maybe a month, that we can get back to some sort of normalcy.
So as people are calling and things, are you giving them suggestions on how they can reduce their stress? You said you were telling them to walk in the community and encouraging them to do that. Is there a specific list of things that have you tried this? Have you, or make that craft? Remember a week, last year when we did this craft with Dede and all that and made these projects, use some of those skills that you already have and, keep your routine going at home anyway, even though you're not physically coming to the building.
Yeah, we try and encourage them to do anything to get their minds off the situation. And, they're just as worried about this coronavirus as we are. And, we don't have anything specific that everyone is so different. So if one person calls, we may say, hey, you can, try these 3 things to pass the time. Someone else will call, we'll have something different. But we don't have a specific list, but we know our folks pretty well and what they like to do and want to do. So each person is kind of its own individual case when it comes to that.
Very good. And so I know Doug is going to have one more question for you before we go. But before we get to that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that in West Virginia, we're fortunate. We, of course, have the Arc of West Virginia, the Arc of the Mid-Ohio Valley, the Arc of Harrison County, the Arc of the Three Rivers, and the Arc of the Eastern Panhandle. And so I just wondered if you could take a minute to explain why the arcs are important in our community and why it's important that we all collaborate together in our state to meet the needs of people.
Sure. Well, I can share a little story with you. I actually first got involved with the ARC when I lived in Charleston, and I was on the board of directors for the ARC of Three Rivers. A lot of people don't know that. So I was actually down there and was on the board, I believe, for a little over a year, and then this position became available, and I was able to move back up here a little closer to where I grew up, to be closer to my parents as they got older. So that's how I initially got involved with the ARC. And, the ARC of the Three Rivers and the ARC of Harrison County, and, of course, the ARC of the Mid-Ohio Valley, I've worked with all 3 agencies in some capacity, and every one of them is unique, and they offer, something different to everybody. And the ARC in general is just an outstanding organization. I was fortunate enough to go to one of the national conventions right after I started here in Harrison County in Washington, D.C., and it was just phenomenal to see people from all over the world there in D.C., and I don't think a lot of our folks realize that the ARC is a national organization. I'm not sure how many countries it's in, but I know I was talking to people from, South America, from Africa, I believe. Now, I don't know if there's ARC chapters in Africa, but I do know there was some folks from some African countries there. And it was just phenomenal to meet the people from all over the world. And it's such an established organization. And I think all ARCs, what they want to do is empower the people that need empowering and offer and give them as many choices as possible.
Very well put. I agree with you, and I look forward to working with you more as the ARCs in West Virginia work together collaboratively, maybe do some fundraising and some outreach together to just really meet the needs of people with disabilities throughout the state.
That'd be wonderful.
The last question I have is, and we've been asking everybody, we all, after the first few days, like you said, it's kind of, I can get this, and now as it drags on, how do you keep yourself? What do you do? Do you walk? Do you, play music? What do you do to keep your spirits up and keep things going every day as we're all going through this together?
Well, one of the big things that I love to do is work out. And unfortunately, I can't go to the gym and do that anymore. But I'm fortunate enough that I have some weights at home, and I'm able to pump some iron and kind of get some of the frustration out. I try to walk at least 5 days a week. And you mentioned music. I actually DJ on the side, so I love music, and I definitely listen to it as often as possible. But, even though I may be at home and most of my staff from the office is home, I know they're working every day, and we're just trying not to disturb everyday life as much as possible. But it definitely can get to you when you're sitting at home 3-4 days in a row, and you're like, wow, I'm used to doing this or doing that. But these are definitely unprecedented times. As far as my lifetime, I can never remember anything like this ever happening before. So it's definitely been a struggle, but we can all get through this together. And you guys, putting these videos together for folks and these interviews is just a wonderful way for people to get some information and pass the time as well.
Well, we appreciate your time and really are grateful for everything that you shared. I hadn't realized that you were on the board at the Arc of the Three Rivers, so that was kind of cool to find out. And we hope that people that listen and have any suggestions as to people we could call or information that we could share, will please let us know. And we hope that it's sunny where you are. It's beautiful here, and we hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Liz and Doug. Appreciate what you're doing. And as always, you guys do great work. So keep it up and be safe.
Right back at you.
Well, joining us on the phone now, we again appreciate Greg Raber, the Executive Director, but we mentioned Dede Kelly. What's your official title? I always see you running the People First group, so what do you actually do there?
I'm actually Billing and Documentation Coordinator. It's a title I've had for 20 years. Not sure that it does everything. I wear a lot of hats, but my main job is Medicaid billing.
And then in your free time, then, you take the time to work with a bunch of folks in your People First group. How many people are in the People First group that meets there at the Arc of Harrison County?
It varies between 14 to 16 self-advocates, and usually they each have an individual staff with them. So we have meetings that run around 30 people on a good day.
We interviewed Jonathan Bird as the president, correct?
Yes.
So we interviewed him a while back about his weight loss. And so that's a great individual goal and thing that he did, but we didn't really talk about what he does and how the People First group works. And again, I know that different groups work differently. Yours actually happens to run out of the Arc of Harrison County. Some groups run, at a library, a church, or different places. But by being at your facility, you can do some things that it makes it kind of convenient to have a building like that. Talk about some of the things how your meetings run and some of the things that you all do there, because I also want to talk some about some great ideas that came up for the upcoming People First conference. But just talk about how your meetings run.
Well, we finally this year just decided or last fall, decided to choose a day of the month to meet because we kind of flew by the seat of our pants sometimes. So now we meet on the second Wednesday of each month, and that's our goal to have an anchor day. We also meet other times, but that's what we started doing, so we had a little more consistency.
You've hit on something. We have groups around the state that, this month we're meeting on the third Friday, and next month we might meet on a Monday, and it's difficult to hit a moving target. So talk about if that has that been a benefit now that you have what you called an anchor day, even though you meet other times as well?
I think it's been very helpful because with the population that we are working with, that we pull from for our People First members and who want to come and be part of it, everybody has a lot of different personal agendas. They might have therapies, they might have doctor appointments, or they might have something they just like to do on a certain day of the week that they don't want to miss. And it's helped because folks are a little more prone to work around our meeting date to be able to be there. And in the past, when we would be random, we would often hit on days that someone could not reschedule an appointment or didn't want to miss an event that they wanted to go to. And, then maybe they go to the library every Thursday for a particular reason, and we were really messing with their schedule. So I think it helped a lot to have a set time. And we kind of try to keep it 10 or 10:30 on Wednesdays, depending on the season. And we've been trying to kind of keep Wednesdays as a day we do other things also, so that we're not messing with their schedules.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to interrupt when you were going to continue on about how your meetings run, but that was a very important point that is stressed in our handbook that each group gets, is that the consistency of the meetings and times, like other groups do. You know, the Lions Club meet on the third Thursday of the month at noon, and the Kiwanis Club meets on the second Monday at, 6 p.m. or whatever. That consistency works for all groups.
Yes, it does.
Back to how your meetings run. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that, but I just thought that was an important point and didn't want to miss it.
Well, and it has been a benefit for us for sure. And as far as how our meetings run, we are different in that we are agency based and have been from the beginning. And I have to say that we're very lucky that our agency fully supports people first and pretty much anything that we want to do. So we have a place we can meet that's convenient and accessible and comfortable for everybody. Also happens to have a kitchen, and things that we can do in the kitchen are great. So we have been doing things, before the stay-at-home orders, we were doing things like having an activity every Wednesday morning followed by lunch for everybody. And we called it People First and Friends because it wasn't just the self-advocates. It was also other people associated with the agency that were invited to come. We've been playing bingo after our regular meeting once a month, and we've been supplying the prizes and letting anybody that wants to in the agency come. So we've been having a lot of fun times, and it's been on Wednesdays that we've done that. So it's kind of kept the same schedule again. But as far as our meetings run, we've tried to be more organized. Jonathan opens the meeting. We don't have a secretary that is doing minutes and so forth. That's been something difficult. We're not sure yet how to work around that. But I try to do the best I can to take minutes. So we also had elections last year, elected officers. We had plans to do that again starting this month, but we'll have to put that on hold because right now we can't meet in person to be safe.
What has been the benefit of bringing those friends in to join in with that group? Has it worked well both for the self-advocates and others?
Well, it's been really nice because we have some folks that are new to our agency and are eligible to be People First self-advocates and be a member of our group. And because we've been doing these activities on Wednesdays, and of course, lunch, food's always a fun draw. We've actually had a couple of our new folks that have come and really enjoyed themselves and have come back. So we hope to see them again once we are able to start doing activities again and have our meetings.
You also mentioned something that's really good. Yes, we'd like to have people to have a formal business meeting every month in case they want to do a plan, a fundraiser, something like that. But there's certainly no requirement that you have a sit-down, formal, go through the agenda, new business, old business that takes the whole meeting. You want people to have fun and have a reason to come back and keep coming to that meeting. So talk about the importance of doing things other than just call the meeting to order, call the roll.
I think that meetings can be very boring, and if you just follow the business format or Robert's Rules of Order, I think that it can be dry and it keeps people from wanting to come back. Sometimes our meetings can be a little chaotic, but that's gotten better, and I usually promise them that if they will let us get through the business pieces and discussion that, we can move on to something more fun. So that's helped, and I think that we are getting more people to speak up and give more feedback, such as when we voted for what we liked for the theme for conference, what our suggestion was going to be. That was a fun situation because not only members but also their staff had opinions and everybody discussed it. So it's the more people we draw in, I think, to feeling they have a voice, the better.
So how did that come about? Who came up with that first idea, and then how did it evolve? I know that at our upcoming meeting on the 14th of May, pending the virus, it was,
right.
And we may do it by phone or do it electronically, but talk about the original theme and then how you suggested it be modified and how you think that will be a fun time this September.
Well, it started with when Melissa Southall sent out the list of themes from past conferences and suggestions for themes. That was sent out to the advisors and our little advisor People First Facebook group. So I took that list and printed it out and took copies for everybody to our meeting that was coming up right after that and passed them out to everybody so that everybody could see the same thing. I discussed what they were for and went through some of the themes. Then we was immediately drawn to the riding the wave theme. And I discussed how much fun that would be to do like a luau thing and, have a luau theme and Hawaiian shirts and leis. And it just felt so summery on a gloomy day that we were talking about it that we really got excited about it. Everybody felt kind of the same way. So that's where it came up. We voted, and that's what they voted on for it to be our group's suggestion.
Well, that's great. And then there was a little modification to it that you're hoping to see if it gets approved by the group coming up at the meeting in May.
Yes, the original Riding the Wave sounded fun, but it kind of, the more we thought about it, sounded kind of like the end of something, like the final thing of catching the wave and riding it, and then you're done, and which is more of a surfer thing. But it seemed like the more we thought about it, that making waves is something that we do, that we make waves where needed to stir things up and do things that we need to do, whether it's make sure that legislators know what we want or that, whether it's a local thing. So making waves made more sense to us. And so we're hoping that that'll be approved at the mid-year training, that we change the theme just a little, but my group said, hey, let's make sure we don't lose the luau part, any of the fun stuff, just the name of it, which just fits better, I think.
One of the things that I know that your group also does really well is do fundraising. Other groups do that as well. What types of activities do you all do to raise funds that everybody can get involved with?
We've done several fundraisers that have been very successful, and what we found is that food-related fundraisers are really the best because A, everybody needs to eat, and B, people like that when things are homemade and delivered to them. And one thing we're able to do because of our facility and having staff available is we can deliver food when we make it. And we have a rule that if a location orders at least 5 of whatever we've made, that we will deliver to them within a reasonable distance. So we've done submarine sandwiches. That's probably our favorite because we've gotten it down pat now, and we can crank out 200 sandwiches and get them delivered in like a 3-hour period. So that's been a good one. We've done spaghetti lunches that we've actually put together, packaged and delivered. We've also done smaller scale things that are fun and a little easier. We sell tickets on an item. For example, you might go buy something like a tablet that people would be interested in, and then you would sell tickets for that tablet, and you'd sell more tickets than what the tablet cost you. So the difference is your profit. And we do small things like that sometimes as well, because that will bring in $200 or $300 maybe at times fairly easily. But because we have a lot of members and most of our members have support staff, we have, kind of an audience that has to help us. So we have an advantage over smaller groups for sure.
But at the same time, when you do things like if you did making your sandwiches or certain things like that, there's things that everybody can do. Everybody, regardless of their disability, can go sell tickets or help make the subs or wrap the subs or put them in the package. So whatever it's not just about raising money. It's also a fun activity that everybody can get involved with.
Yeah, to me, it's a team building thing. Sometimes when we do things like the sandwiches, we actually almost don't have enough things for everybody to do because we have so many helpers and members involved. But everybody can do something, like you said, whether it's separating the containers that the sandwiches go in, or if sometimes we have stickers to go on those and somebody can do that, or there's all kinds of things. And some people have a difficult time, say, selling tickets. I'm not big on sales myself, so I focus on other parts that I can do better. But then we have some folks that are very outgoing, have lots of community contacts, from their bank to their therapy office to their next door neighbors, and they are just phenomenal salesmen. So I think everybody has a strength. and you just sometimes have to help them find it. And we've done pretty well with that.
Dede Kelly is with the ARC of Harrison County. We spoke to Greg Raber, the executive director, earlier, and then he mentioned Dede. I know Dede is on the front line of helping run the People First group when she's not officially doing billing. But we appreciate all the time and dedication that you have coming to the conference and working with the group all the time and helping them with the ideas and kind of helping them formulate, because I know we've been in meetings and someone will say something, and it's always important to have a good advisor that can kind of channel that idea into something practical so then it works. And it's what they really wanted. They may have a difficult time expressing it.
Very true. So, it's my favorite part of my job is being a People First advisor. That is a definite.
Well, we appreciate it very much. All right. Well, thank you, Dede. And again, thanks to Greg, who was on earlier. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you at the next meeting about the theme and other things going on with People First.